Hello. Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Well, Srinivas,
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
you maintain the attendance today also.
Okay, sir.
For this subject also, both the subjects you maintain the attendance.
Okay, sir.
Fine then. Shall we start the class?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to MBA second semester again. One more new subject called business research methods. As I told you, one of the interesting and most useful subject in our MBA. And it's my favorite subject also. From last 14 years, I am dealing with this subject. Earlier it was marketing research. Now it became business research methods. Before we go to this subject, let me give you little bit orientation about this subject. Why do we need business research? Why do we need to study this subject? In what way it is useful for us? Does research really require for business? Fine. Of course, research is required for business as the applications of research is universal and everywhere research is being used for analyzing, for interpreting and getting some results as well as precious information about an incident, about a situation, about anything where this research will provide us enormous of information. With the help of this information, decisions are being taken, problems are being solved, opportunities are being encashed. Likewise, research is a very useful tool for anybody on the earth. As all of you are aware, right now we are into this corona pandemic. Every day we get details about the uh, infected people, how many new people, new infected were added to the present uh, list. Today there are 500 new infected people. There were 10 deaths. Likewise, that all information was collected and is being collected by the Department of Health. This information they use, and with the help of statistical tools as well as with the help of research methods, they analyze and interpret, thereby they draw the conclusions which are very useful. When first time this pandemic affected the whole world, then the scientists called it as first wave, and they expected there will be another two waves, that is second wave and third wave. And later the second wave came now, and the scientists or the experts are cautioning us that there is a chance of third wave in the month of September or October. And recently we have seen Tukta hurricane, as well as one more Yas hurricane. Weather department uh, again cautioned everybody that there is a hurricane may come from Bay of Bengal, and it may affect Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Odisha. With the help of this information, central government and state government have taken so many precautionary measures and saved so many lives, and also was able to safeguard the assets and properties of the public as well as private. And the third information is about vaccines. We say Covishield vaccines efficacy rate is 70%. Covaxin vaccines efficacy rate is 80, near to 80%, and Sputnik V efficacy rate is 95%. Look at these examples or illustrations of COVID, vaccine, weather report, and about anything. Here, all these conclusions were drawn on the basis of information collected. With the help of the information, the conclusions or the statements were made by the scientists, by the weather experts, and by the health department. So, how they draw these conclusions? They follow or they use research, they conduct a research, they do defining and redefining the problems, and formulate the hypothesis, collect enormous information, and later organize that information in a systematic way, evaluate the data, make the deductions, and finally reaching the conclusions. In between, they will take the help of statistics, where this statistics will help them in testing as well as analyzing the information. And in business decisions, recently you might have seen so many businesses, they took decisions about their expansions, about their diversifications, about the amalgamation, about the merger, about the acquisitions, about new projects. All these decisions were taken only on the basis of research. With the help of the research, they were able to take these kind of decisions. So it means now all of us can agree that research is universal and it is required by each and everybody, and it will help everyone who is in need of information, and they can use this information, churn this information, mold this information, fine tune this information, and get some inferences which will help them in taking the major decisions. Hope all of you are following.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Then can anybody tell me what is research without seeing this definition? All of you switch on your mic. And let me know how many of you will be able to define the term research. Everyone switch on your mic.
Identifying innovations.
Yes? Soumya Sri, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yes, tell me, please.
Identifying innovation, new things.
Identifying innovations.
And
Be clear.
sir, identifying innovations.
Okay, identifying innovations. Then any other views?
Sir, investigation, sir.
Nivedita.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then
Collecting the
Creating new
data.
knowledge, sir.
one by one. Rekha.
Creating new knowledge, sir.
Repeat it.
Creating new knowledge, sir.
Creating new
things.
knowledge.
Yes.
Okay, Kaushik.
No idea, sir.
Yes, Kaushik.
Research. Thank you, sir. Research.
Okay,
So doing on a
Praful,
Sir?
you were telling something.
Nothing, sir. Just research means like gathering the information about the particular sector or particular.
Okay. Then any other views? Vijeta, Srinivas, Rashmi Shirur, Adil, Akshay, Anjana.
It's a systematic study, sir.
Systematic study. Then, yes, Rashmi.
No.
Don't know. Okay, Vijeta, Adil, Akshay, Anjana.
Information, sir.
Yes, Vijeta.
Collecting information.
Collecting information. Then, Adil.
Systematic investigation.
Systematic investigation. Okay, Anjana, Akshay. Please switch on your mics. Why you are switching off your mics? Atmika, Gurama, Manju, Pavan, Pushpa.
sir, analyzing the
Analyzing the
other markets, other sector.
other market, other sectors. Okay. Soumya Sulake.
Collecting information and evaluating the data, sir.
Collecting and evaluating information and data. Good. Then, yes, Sanjana, you were telling something.
A new and creative way, sir.
A new and creative way. Okay. Fine then. I accept everyone's views as well as everyone's opinion about the definition of research. Now, I would like to know what do you mean by discovery and what do you mean by innovation? About
Sir,
research,
discovery
you
means
told. Okay, Kaushik.
sir, discovering means finding new things, sir.
Finding
New things, sir, or making invention, new things, sir. Or
new
researching
things.
on
Discovery means okay. Innovations means
sir, inventing, sir.
what inventing?
Sir, inventing a particular product, sir, from a scratch.
Okay, any other views?
So discovering means is something that is not existent. So we have discovered something. So
Okay,
discovering the new thing. Innovation means something we have been bringing the improvement in the by using the technology and all.
absolutely. Discovery means finding or purposely searching for new things which are not exist. And which are new things for the whole world. Something like somebody discovered Mars planet, somebody discovered a river, somebody discovered a new land, and scientists discovered some new things. So these are the some discoveries which were not exist before first time they were identified. Inventions are the purposeful acts. Why I'm using word purposeful acts means with some purpose we start searching, identifying, digging some information to get something. Something like invention of penicillin vaccine, invention of Newton's theory, inventions of mathematical expressions, where there will be a purpose behind searching the new things for solving some problems which are exist. Whereas discoveries are without any purposes most of the times. When they were involving in some activities, suddenly they get something. Hope you are clear with invention and discovery, all of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine then. Now, what is research? Research is totally different from your invention and discoveries, whereas the research may be the part of your invention and discovery most of the times. It may be a subset of the discovery, or it may be the subset of the invention, where it's a process, procedure, it's a method which the researcher follows, admires, and adhere to find or to solve or to use something. As most of you told, it's a systematic investigation. Of course, it's a systematic investigation. And some of you told collecting, gathering, evaluating the data and information. Absolutely true. There is no question. There is no doubt at all. And some of you told research means related to product. Not only product, not only market. It is broader in nature. Research is the term which is applicable to the universal, as I told you. The research is a process of defining and redefining the problems. In our general life, in our business life, in our political life, in our social life, in our economical life, in our technical life, in our legal life, we face so many problems. Or while traveling in these journeys, we may find some obstacles, some hurdles that needs to be addressed, that needs to be solved, that needs to be overcome so that the journey can continue. There, the relevancy of research arises. Here, Clifford Woody, a great researcher, made an attempt to define the research in his own passion. He says research comprises defining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses or suggested solutions. Defining and redefining the problems. Look at the terminology that he is using, defining and redefining the problems. Why do we need to define the problem? What is the need when we know, when we see, when we hear the problem? Is there any need of defining it or redefining it? Do you think, is there any need? Can anybody tell me?
Yes, sir.
What is the need then?
Sir, we can find the solutions also for it.
Okay. Yes, Smita, what is the need of defining or redefining the problem? Smita, are you there? Okay, Akshay. Then anybody?
Past data.
Past data. No, the question is whether there is a need of defining and redefining of the problems. You may use past data, present data, or future data, that is okay. But is there any need of defining and redefining the problem?
Yes, sir.
Smita. Yes, why? Then why?
If you define the problem, we'll get a correct definition of the problem, sir, which will help to get the solution for that problem, sir.
Good. Smita.
Sir, if we don't define the problem, then we won't come to a solution or a conclusion, sir. First, we need to know the problem, sir.
Okay. Yes, it's true. Dear students, if the problem is defined or stated in a right way, then 50% is you have solved the problem. Something like whenever we fell ill, we go to a doctor and we ask the doctor that I'm not feeling well, treat me. Then doctor starts asking you what are the symptoms you are facing. You will say cold, cough, throat pain, fever, shivering. Likewise, you will explain him. Then doctor will ask you to lay down, and he will check your eyes, your throat, your tongue, and he will test your pulse. Then he will come to know something, and he may inject or he may prescribe some medicines for you. When you look at this small incident, look it from the research point of view right now. You have a problem and you wanted to solve that problem. That's what you felt, that doctor is the right person to solve this problem. You went to the doctor, and now the doctor needs to define the problem in the right way. That's very important. So to define the problem in a right way, he needs to investigate it, he needs to probe it, he needs to diagnose the disease in a right way. That's what he will do is he will ask you the symptoms and he will use some tests to diagnose the disease. If the doctor diagnose the disease rightly and say it's an influenza because of cold, because of seasonal change, you are affected with influenza, take the tablets for influenza in terms of paracetamol and imol and one antibiotic injection. You come back, take the full course of medicines. After 3 days, you will be recovered. This entire process which you undergone, if you keenly observe, the problem was stated correctly. The problem was defined and redefined correctly in the right way, and that stating of the problem resulted in treating the patient in a right way with the right prescribed medicines, with some diet, the patient came out from that influenza. This is one phase of defining and redefining the problem. The second phase of the defining and redefining of the problem. With the same problem, if somebody goes to another doctor, if doctor fails to diagnose the disease as an influenza and he misinterpret it or wrongly diagnose it as malaria and offer quinine tablets to the patient, patient will come back to home, take the tablets, make the diet. Suddenly there will be adverse effects, side effects. Sometimes it may be a deadly reaction for the patient. The patient may die or patient may suffer a lot and come back to the doctor. Then doctor again define and redefine the problem and felt that he diagnosed it wrongly. That's what the adverse effect took place. Now again, diagnose it in a right way and prescribe some medicines to overcome from it. Again, patient will go back and take the medicine and get well soon. Just compare the two situations. When the problem was defined rightly, redefined rightly, when the problem was defined wrongly, what were the consequences that we have seen in the first case? The consequences were favorable. The problem was solved. Time, cost, energy which were invested in solving the problem was useful. Whereas in the second situation, time, cost, money invested in solving that problem was waste. Plus, lot of sufferings because of wrong prescriptions. The same thing happens to the organizations also. When a researcher define the problem or redefine the problem in a wrong way, then the organization will get pinch of this heat and badly affected. Everybody won't have this skill of defining the problem in a right way. Only few will earn the skill of defining the problem in a right way and analyze it and solve the problem. That's what defining and redefining the problem is always a crucial stage in research process. If the researcher fails to define it correctly, then it will adversely affect everyone and there will not be any solution for the real problem which is exists either in the organization or in the business. Then formulating hypothesis or suggested solutions. What do you mean by hypothesis? Can anybody tell me? What do you mean by hypothesis? Have you heard this term, hypothesis?
Yes, sir.
You used it, you solved so many problems during your high school days and PU days. Then what is hypothesis? Can anyone make attempt to state or define the term hypothesis?
Imagination.
Imagination, okay. About what? Imagination about?
So finding whether the statement is truth or not, sir.
That is hypothesis testing. Now I am asking, what is hypothesis? Only hypothesis.
Assumption, sir.
Assumption about what? Who is this?
Gurama, sir.
Gurama. Assumption about what? Assumption, I agree with you. Even imagination is also nearest term for assumption. That also I agree. About what?
Assumption about solutions, sir.
Not,
Solutions of the problems.
not solution.
Sir, about the truth, sir.
You cannot assume about the truth. You know it is a truth. Then what is the need of assuming it? You are near to the answer. You try. You will come with that word. In statistics, also you have studied it so many times. Yes, Praful, can you make an effort? Pawan?
Sir,
Yes.
hypothesis means something like that we are continuing with some clues or some with some evidence we got like that.
Okay.
Sir,
Pawan,
guessing, sir.
Rekha, guessing.
Sir.
Pawan, Rashmi Gonal, Atmika, Manju Adpad,
Sir, it is a prediction, sir.
so Mestri. It's a prediction. Okay. Then anybody else?
There are proposition made as a basis for reasoning without any assumption of its truth, sir.
It's a
Truth, sir. A proposition made as a base for reasoning without any assumption of its truth, sir.
I agree. Definitely, it is a proposition about something, but assumption exists here. Fine.
Further investigation, sir.
Maybe act as a further investigation, but the meaning of hypothesis is, in simple words, it's an assumption about the population. Gurama. It's an assumption about the population. Then nicely added by Praful, how the assumptions are made. See, blindly we cannot make any assumptions. As we are responsible researcher, the researcher will always make assumptions based upon some evidences, some clues, some data. Is it not? So what is this assumption about the population? Now, based upon the information that we received from the media bulletin related to coronavirus or COVID-19, we can make an assumption that around 60% of Indian population got COVID-19. More than 60% of Indian population may got COVID-19 disease. It's an assumption because I'm stating here more than 60%. I'm not sure. I'm not confident. More than 60%, maybe 60.0001 to 100%. In between any number, it may be. It's an assumption. Fine. More than 60% of Indian population may affected by COVID-19 disease. May affected. I'm not sure again. They may be affected or they may not be affected. So why did I made this assumption? I made this assumption because I have a data with me. I have some clues. I have some evidences. I have some proofs. I have some information with me which made me to make this assumption about the population of India, that more than 60% population of India may affected by COVID-19. Now we need to test this hypothesis, whether the hypothesis stated by me is true or false. Then I need to use alternative hypothesis. So the null hypothesis contains two parts. One is null hypothesis, another is alternative hypothesis. Now my alternative hypothesis will be definitely uh, not more than 60% of the Indian population affected by COVID-19. So these are the two aspects I included in my hypothesis. Now I will take the help of statistics, which tells me about hypothesis testing, and also provides me the formulas to be used in different situations. And I will use that formula and feed the data or substitute the values which are available with me, and I will get the results, and I will now read and interpret that result. Later, I will draw a conclusion. Null hypothesis is accepted as more than 60% of Indian population got affected by the COVID-19. So this is how it goes. It goes slowly, it goes systematic, it goes with the procedures, it follows the methods, it is based upon the concepts, it is based upon the formulas, it is based upon the statistics. Likewise, we use everything systematically in a disciplined way, and later only we make the conclusions. Until and unless we test it, we diagnose it, we analyze it, we interpret it, we get sure, then only we make the statement that null hypothesis is accepted. So that's what research includes: formulating the hypothesis or suggested solutions. How it is being done? It is being done by collecting, organizing, and evaluating data. So either you define or redefine the problem or formulate the hypothesis on the basis of collecting, organizing, and evaluating the data. Later, making the deductions and reaching the conclusions. When we are into the research process, we are bombarded with lot of information. We collect all information about the organization, start from its inception to the present, and some predictions about the future. N number of data and information we collect, but we will use only that data, only that information which is relevant for my research, and other data we forget. That is nothing but making deductions and reaching the conclusions based upon the collected data, gathered data, and evaluated data. We will come to a conclusion and reaches to the conclusion, and at last carefully testing the conclusions to determine whether they fit the formulating hypothesis. We carefully test the conclusions to see whether they fit the formulating hypothesis or not. So we made that 60%, more than 60% of the population got infected. So to either to prove it or disprove it, we collect a lot of information, we deduct some information, we use some information, and we reach to the some conclusion, and we make the statement that either yes, more than 60% of the Indian population got infected, or we may say less than 60% of the Indian population got COVID-19 disease. So this is how the research definition is defined. Hope all of you are clear. Let me know your feedback about the understanding. Please switch on your mic and tell me whether you followed it or not.
Followed, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we will close here, and tomorrow we'll meet and discuss the remaining things. Thank you very much for attending, and